Okay, so I copied this from the solutions, and the solutions have the super mesh labeled, but if it was not labeled on your test, how would you recognize it as a super mesh? And the answer is because you have two of your meshes are two of your meshes, the branch that they share has a current source on it. So whenever you have a situation where you're going to do mesh analysis and you figure out what your meshes are, like we have here, we have I1, I2, I3, I4, and you look at what's being shared between the meshes. So I3, it shares a resistor with I1, a voltage source with I4. I1 shares the resistor with I3 and a resistor with I2. I2 shares a current source with I4. And so when two meshes share a current source, what you do is you treat them together as a super mesh. And that gives you get one mesh equation for both of them together, but you get an additional auxiliary equation from the two individual meshes. So the way you write your mesh equations is you go around in the direction that you drew it, and any resistor you come to, your voltage drop, if it's not a shared branch, the voltage drop will be plus the current of that, the one that you're on, times the resistor. But if you're on a shared branch, so say I'm on IN on this side and IM on this side, then as I'm writing the mesh equation for this branch, and this is resistor R, then that voltage drop is going to be R times IN minus IM, because the actual current flowing through that resistor is not either this current or this current, because it's a combination of both of them. If you come to a voltage source, what we're summing up are voltage sources. So when you come to a voltage source, if you enter into the negative side, you write it down as a negative, and if you enter into the positive side, you write it down as a positive. So for the top left mesh, I will start at the 2 ohm resistor. So that's just going to be 2I1 plus. Now I come to the 2 ohm resistor that it shares with I2. So that's going to be 2, and then I1 minus I2 plus, and then I come to the 2 ohm resistor it shares with I3, so that'll be 2 I1 minus I3 equals 0. Now I'll come to my super mesh, and I'm going to work my way around the outside of this super mesh. So I'll be going around this yellow that I drew here. And I'll start right here. And through this 2 ohm resistor, I have just I2. So that's 2I2. And then now coming down here through this 1 ohm resistor, I have just I4. So plus 1 I4. Then I come to a voltage source. I'm coming into the positive side, so I will label that as plus 1. And then I come to the 2 ohm resistor, and that's shared with I1, so that's plus 2 I2 minus I1, and that equals 0. And then I have the equation that goes with my super mesh. And so to do that, I look at this current source. So my current source is 1 amp in that direction. And I look at what I2 and I4 are doing. So I2 right here is in that direction, and I4 is in that direction. So I4 is going in the direction of the current source, and I2 is going opposite the direction. And so I4 minus I2 equals 1 amp. So that is another equation. And then I will get my equation for my last mesh right here, which is I3. And I'll start right here. I'm going into the negative side of the negative 12 volt voltage source. So that's minus 12. And then I come up to the 2 ohm resistor. So that's plus 2. And then it'll be I3 minus I1 because it's being shared with I3 and I1. And then I come to this voltage source right here, but this time I'm going into the negative side of it, so I'll be minus 1 equals 0. And now I will simplify each of these equations. And so for I1, I have 2I1 plus 2I1 plus 2I1 is 6I1. And then I have minus 2I2. And I have minus 2I3 equals 0. Now for my supermesh equation, I have minus 2I1 and I have plus 2I2 plus 2I2, so plus 4I2, and then plus 1I4, and then I'll take my 1 to the other side equals negative 1. And then my third equation, I have minus I2 plus I4 equals 1. And then my last equation, I have minus 2I1 and plus 2I3. And I have a minus 12, minus 1 is minus 13, take it to the other side. And I get 13. And let me just see, this is the kind of place where I make mistakes. Let me just double check. 2 minus 2I1 plus 4I2 minus 1. Yep, that's right. Okay, so questions on this one? All right then.